Let's quickly go around the room and just introduce ourselves, and if you wish to share which a book you've recently read that you really enjoyed. So I'm Amy Blondin. I am the chair. Is that
Just not a chair.
Yeah, great. I'm the chair of the Lacey Library Board. I just finished a book called The Body Keeps the Score, which is about how trauma actually changes your body's chemistry and your brain's wiring, and some different ways to deal with that. It's just a really interesting read that's been on the bestseller list for a couple of years. So I thought I was interested in picking it up. So that was called The Body Keeps the Score. It's a little dense, you know, there's a lot of research and science in there, but yeah, it was fun. It was interesting read. How you like?
Good. Hi, I'm Blake Bresnahan. I'm the assistant library manager here. And I guess recently I had a guy come in here and recommend a book to me called The Shallows. It's a little over a decade old now, but it's about how the internet and smartphones are rewiring our brains and literally the physical characteristics of our brains and what the fallout of that might be in the future. Pretty thought-provoking.
I'm reading a book that I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's in something like Endeavor or something like that, but it's on the dismantling of the Turkish control of the Middle East after World War I by the British, French, and Belgian, and they dismantled and they set up and they established Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and they came up with the organization of Palestine, but it was a joint operation at that time. There were no qualifications in terms of Jewish or whatever. So that was there. During that period of time, a period of you might say control was exercised over the Jewish, and the Jewish then revolted. And they went into protest against the part that was controlled by England. They fought with the British until 1948. At that point in time, England conceded the whole over to them. And so at that point in time, they had, with the Palestinians then, because of the objections of all the problems and everything that had been there, vacated over half of the area. So the Jewish groups invited in immigration from Europe, from all of the fallout from World War II. And it expanded from there. That's where I am in the book.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I mean, this thing goes back all the way back to the Turkish Empire that was in there. I mean, they controlled everything all the way across through Egypt, all the way across over to the Atlantic Ocean, all of North Africa, all the way up through the Middle East, and all the way over just short of Rome. And World War I, they took the British, French, and Belgian because the Turks had supported the German and what was
Axis. The Axis power.
yeah, it was the German the guy who was in charge of that, and they had supported him, so they came in and they took his and they took that all apart and separated it all out, broke Egypt out into a separate, broke in all the ruins across North Africa were all separated according to the French and the English. And everybody, you know, out in Europe, they just came in and said, well, here, we're going to draw these boundaries. Had nothing to do with what the backing of the occupying people were. They just drew lines where they felt, well, yeah, hey, that looks good. They drew lines. And it's been a fallout ever since. So a lot of what we're seeing over there right now. Dates way back. And the problem is that nobody has ever addressed the tribal backgrounds of everybody over there. And you've got tribal, I remember being in Turkmenistan and you go down the street. That couple over there, they're wearing red, they will not talk to the couple wearing blue. The couple wearing green, they won't talk to either one. I mean, you got 5 sections of Turkmenistan. Those 5 sections do not talk to each other. But the president of Turkmenistan, if he says, I'm gonna spend money in this area, has to spend an equal amount in every one of those 5 sections. And we built in 4 of the 5, a German company built in the 5th section. And the absolute tribal control is just immense. And nobody really pays attention to it. They keep thinking that, well, they just need to have freedom of vote, freedom of movement, got nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
It's,
okay, well, that sounds fascinating and like a very interesting. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because Sophie, I'm so happy you were able to join us. Do you want to introduce yourself? We're just doing introductions and talking about a book we've recently read that we enjoyed, so go ahead.
I'm Sophie, and I recently finished the Poppy War series, which is really good. It's an adult fantasy book based off like the Asian empires and more. Those are,
And you're a Timberline, are you a junior?
yes, I'm a
Okay.
junior.
Very cool.
you're gonna be stuck with us for the next 2 years.
We'll
I'm
see.
sorry.
So you just want to tell your name?
Well,
So-
want to keep going, or I'm
Oh,
Scott.
yeah.
Okay,
A quick
James.
recap for Sophie.
James, that's James. I'm Scott.
And Amy.
Blake.
And Pam, what you been reading?
I just finished a book called The People's Hospital, which was, it's an interesting, really interesting book about our healthcare system. It uses the Ben Cobb Hospital in Houston as basis for its example. It's, you know, a lot of its examples about things, and follows 4 or 5 different patients, either uninsured or underinsured, and then builds on that and talks about the good things and the bad things, mostly the bad things about our healthcare system, and you know how things have just gotten out of control cost wise. It's a really interesting book.
People's Hospital.
People's Hospital.
Okay.
Nobody's really reading any funds.
I know, is anyone reading anything?
Well, so
light?
that,
I'm sorry. What,
Sophie's
sorry, I
reading
saw
some
you
good
pull it
stuff.
up, so I.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
my dense book is Ben Franklin by Walter Isaacson. So, you know, that's like 1,000 pages. So get
That's a-
through that.
yeah.
My leadership book is How to Lead by David Rubenstein. And then my fun book is called Death at La Fenice by Donna Leon. It's like just this good old fashioned murder mystery set in Venice, you know, the kind of whodunit type thing. So I highly recommend it if you just want to just read something and have fun. There you go.
Say it one more time. I love a murder mystery.
Death at La Fenice, Fenice, Donna Leon.
Okay. Does everyone have a copy of the agenda in front of them? Does anyone have any changes to it before we?
I move we approve the agenda.
I second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. The next item, we have a little bit of a wrinkle here. Our last meeting was way back in June. Charlotte was kind enough to take minutes for us, and Pam, we just fall apart when you're not here to do them. So, Charlotte did a nice job taking minutes, however, she cannot locate them currently. So we do not have minutes from the June 28th meeting to approve. So we can either, you know, kind of pend that until if perhaps they turn up at a later date, or we can just sort of recap what we talked about at the June meeting, or we can just note in our record, our minutes, that there are no minutes from the last.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything, I mean, you said that email that you voted to approve the budget, like, and you forwarded the budget to
We
the.
forwarded a budget request to the city on behalf of the library. And we
That
had,
was the big thing.
yeah, and we had Holly's manager report, those were the big items.
I've attended 2 of the city council meetings and the
Yeah.
budget's been presented, the budget's in to the city.
Okay.
And the city manager will be presenting it, but not until they get further along, because they got some other problems that they have to address before they can touch it,
Okay.
so. They're hoping to get to it very quickly, but he says that we're not gonna be able, so
Okay, and
I
just,
said, okay, tell me when and I'll be there.
perfect. So if you just for your information, the request we made to the city was to help construct a couple of sort of individual study areas so that this larger space can be freed up for bigger meetings. Sometimes people look at this room and it's really only a couple people who are in here doing
Or
a study
one.
session or one person. And it would be nice to just have a couple individual spaces somewhere in the building for that. So that's what we asked for. Okay. I don't have any indication that we have anybody to provide public comments. Did you hear anything? Sometimes Holly gets to know too.
Not that I'm aware of now.
Okay. Well, then we will move right along to Blake's manager updates.
Okay, Holly's report here. So we have 5 new substitutes in Thurston County. Holly now supervises 7 subs countywide. She's noted here that they're hopefully ready to pick up shifts by the end of September. They have been, they're working. It's nice to have them on days we know we're gonna be lean because we just lost a library assistant to Yelm. She became a librarian in Yelm. So we lost 40 hours there. Subs help out with that. And we're also been approved to hire, to replace her, 2 30-hour positions. So instead of 40 hours, we're now gonna have 60 and 2 people, more flexibility for doing like Monday and Saturday. So that's really nice.
Out of curiosity, why does it take, what is it that has to happen that takes until the end of September?
A lot of training, a lot of mandatory training that they have to go through before they're ready to hit the ground.
Okay,
Some of it's probably almost required by law. I'm not entirely sure, but it's a lot of it's, the policies, the
Just
procedures,
until you get familiar with everything that's in here.
yes. And some of it's just official stuff like policies. Some of it's the actual programs that we use for our interlibrary system and
So
circulation and all that. It takes a while to absorb and you can't really have people out there not knowing the fundamentals of that. So
the subs have to know how to step in to whatever position that's going on vacation or going on medical leave or what.
they're designated as library assistants. So they're not stepping in and doing like librarian work or manager work or anything like that.
Okay.
They're stepping in and doing library assistant work, which is the crucial day-to-day, the shelving, the returns, all
Okay.
that stuff. That's kind of
Okay.
the nuts and bolts. So, yeah.
So when this says they would be ready to pick up shifts by the end of September, that was last September, not next September.
Correct. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was this September. Holly must have written this prior to
Some time
that.
ago,
So,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
I was looking at, I was going, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's,
Months?
it's a good month. Well, and they're only allowed to work 16 hours a week.
Mm.
So they can only train 16 hours a week when they're training. So it's a little bit prolonged.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, they're up and running now. We got them through. It was ushered them through the.
Okay.
And then it's probably going to be capped at that for a little while, as far as I know. I don't think we'll be hiring anymore unless it's a replacement for somebody that leaves. So. Hawks Prairie, we have a new 3-person laptop bar at the windows there that people are using a lot. A couple more computers up there. People are using the printers, the Wi-Fi computers up there a lot. I believe we have a new copier authorized, a second copier authorized for that location because it gets, there's only one. And if somebody's printing out a lot, there's a line. It becomes very irritating to somebody who's like, I'm going to wait an hour here, just to print out 4 pages. So that's good.
Those machines are in use every time. I mean, I go in there every couple of weeks and there's always at least one person working. on
Hawks Prairie?
computers. Yeah, at Hawks Prairie.
Yeah.
So it's great to see it being so well used.
We have 3 here and we could use a 4th. We're trying to get a 4th. We have a new program called Talk Time English Conversation Circle that Megan Hall and Diane Freilich are doing. This is a lot of people have been coming in for it. It's super cool. People will ask, many classes in the area for learning English. And we're making contacts with people like SPSCC who do have official classes, but for what this is just to come in an informal environment and talk. People who speak English come in and volunteer to talk with them and they practice their English. It's now going weekly, either the beginning of next week or the beginning of the year. I can't remember, but it's going from twice a month to weekly because it's popular and we really want to focus on that population. There's so many immigrants here. We've had people in here who speak Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, Spanish, of course, practicing their English. So yeah, it's really cool.
Is it volunteers or is it staff?
Well, initially we wanted, they're not volunteers officially because this was the whole thing with Timberland. We couldn't use volunteers to do that. But they are people who come in and they're not volunteers, but they come in and talk. They're not penciled in, like, you're gonna come and volunteer. It's like, show up and talk, but you can't officially be a volunteer because just the way it's a union thing and so forth. But yeah, people come in who are just English speakers and just to be, something to do and talk to people and help people with their English. That's great. The Inouye Library is continuing to grow, 17 stops throughout the county, Head Starts, senior centers, partnering with the chamber, providing extra kids activities and laptop use. They're doing printing out in the field. Amarina Hartpool is our anywhere person, so she takes that van out most days of the week to a few stops, depending on where they are, everywhere down to Bucota, anywhere in the county. What else do we have here? The Friends have sponsored done a stage sponsorship for the Lacey Cultural Celebration, which puts us kind of front and center at that whole event. Good booth space. It'll bring a lot of visibility to the Friends. The Friends, and I don't know all the details, are also working on a banner to go across College Street. You know where they hang banners?
Oh, yeah.
They're working on a banner to get up at a certain time of the year that I'm not sure of to kind of publicize their efforts and who they are. That'll be cool. Timberland News, Anywhere Library, yes. The summer sites provided service 27 times to 12 stops, promoted Anywhere Library at 10 special events, checked out 294 books, gave out 369 summer library program prize books, and talked to 1,655 people. Yeah. I went to the Polynesian Fest up there at the rack, and they were there.
I've seen them out and about a lot. That's
Have
really
you?
cool. Yeah.
The Design a Library Card Contest. If you haven't seen this, the top 3 are the winners. That one is actually a young Lacey patron, who designed those cards, and they're on, amongst those 6 selections that we have for people to choose for their library card designs right now.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And the one on the bottom right is Nikki McClure. If you're familiar with her, you probably recognize her distinctive artwork.
It's a very
Yeah,
distinctive
yeah.
style. Yeah. Cool.
So that was a nice thing. And
So now if I come in and turn in my library card. and give one-
yep, it's gonna have a different number. So if you have it memorized, might be a problem. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, if you like the number, you're out of luck, but we do have stickers that are those designs.
Oh, that's cool.
You have a sticker, you probably put it on your, it might feel off, but you could probably put it on your
Where are
card.
the stickers here?
I think they're behind, you might have to ask, I'm not sure. We have them though.
You gotta know who to know.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Do we know the right people to get a
That's
sticker?
right, I might be able to hook you up, I'll look into it. I honestly don't know anything about this. Fishing kit photo contest for all ages. Apparently it expired November 21st. We have these fishing kits. You might have seen rods behind
Yeah, I saw
the
that.
desk and tackle boxes that people can take out on loan. I don't know anything about the photo contest, but maybe I'll see the results. Yom has new hours, 10 to 6, same hours as we do, except we're open Mondays. You've all probably experienced the new website, I'm guessing. I think people are coming along, it's different. It emphasizes different things, like having that username and be able to leave ratings and reviews, and kind of, it's more interactive. Some people like that, some people don't. And we hear about it both ways. But it does have some nicer features like the catalog. You can now search for things in certain libraries. You know, you can narrow down. It's got more sophisticated search features for the library catalog. And once you figure out where everything else is, I think it's definitely an improvement overall.
Does it have a supervision on it, or is it a, whatever you want to say, you get to say?
Oh, like the comments and the
Yeah.
ratings? It's got it's moderated. I
Okay.
think, yeah. Right, you can't have people on there just
Yeah,
blasting off,
there's
yeah.
some, there's some free thinkers out there that have got.
Putting it-
Right, it is moderated, it's the same, the software suite that we use, it's called BiblioCommons. If you look around, you see like Snow Owl libraries, I think King County, Seattle, there's a ton of libraries, 200 plus worldwide using the same software platform.
Okay,
So it's pretty well tested,
okay.
yeah. And like I always mentioned here, that social media functions, you don't have to use that if you don't want to. It's just there for those who do. 3 Friends of the Library appreciation events we had, one November 9th in Chehalis, the 10th at our service center, and the 18th in Hoquiam. That's just trying to get geographically places where different friends groups can come and be recognized and be celebrated a little bit, and talk with Cheryl and Kendra, our director and deputy director. And I know some of the Lacey friends went over to the one at the service center, and we had staff here, Raina Sador, go over and be a part of that as well. So good for the friends to get recognized. Early programming and outreach, early learning in July, we had 9 programs, 276 attendees. Outreach, 3 events reaching 3,796 attendees. Youth, teen, adult, all ages, 10 programs, 1,372 attendees. And then outreach, 3 events reaching 1,006 attendees. In August, we had 8 early learning programs reaching 283 attendees. We had 3 outreach events reaching 1,527 attendees. Youth, teen, adult, and all ages, 9 programs, 1,049 attendees. 2 events reaching 53 attendees in outreach. Summer library program final statistics. We here in Lacey gave out 1,164 books to participants. And this year we only had the starting books. We're not giving out finishing prizes. Whereas other years we've done both. So if you would consider, well, it wouldn't be double that because not everybody comes back for the second book, but it would be a lot larger. And we intend to this coming year have a finishing prize. So people aren't limited to just that book they get at the beginning. Hawkesbury gave out 128 books to participants. September early learning, 9 events with 322 attendees. In youth, teen, adult, and all ages, 7 events with 429 attendees. And in outreach, 3 events with 78 attendees. October, 17 events with 506 attendees in early learning. Youth, teen, adult, and all ages, 6 events with 243 attendees. And the outreach, 6 events with 450 attendees. There are circulation stats there. Do you guys want me to read those off, or is it?
No. it's
Okay, I didn't know how this is usually done.
Yeah, I think it's generally, we just kind of look at whether we're on track. whether it's
Okay.
Increasing, I mean, obviously
yeah.
during the pandemic, we saw a pretty significant drop for a little while, despite all your
Well,
Herculean efforts.
inevitable,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we just kind of generally take a look at that, but does anyone have any?
Does
questions?
circulation typically go down in the winter because there's less daylight, or is that kind of a thing?
I would have to look at the
Okay.
stats. I'm not sure. I would say typically, yes. I mean, foot traffic does. And it probably depends on whether you're talking about just physical items or if you're including downloadables in that as well, because at this point that the downloadable stuff might be, buttressing a lot of the search stats, especially in the winter when people are more homebound and whatnot.
Right.
I guess my concern would be is, these are all showing increases, yet if I go back last year, we were still into COVID. That was an awful lot of personal at home,
Sure.
a lot. I'm wondering how we're seeing an increase in all that usage when we've got people out going around moving, that people are coming back to the library, people are coming back to use it. You've got public participation going on now. I'm not sure that I quite see what the relationship is that generates those kinds of increases.
Also,
So I guess that,
Which increase in it, or did you have one in particular?
well, if I just,
gonna add?
you know, if I just go down the list, I've got Hawks Prairie, you got 45% increase over July
Yeah,
2022.
I mean, with Hawks Prairie, I think it's just increased awareness that it's there.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
because
gotta be something
I
more than just.
believe it was it March of 22 when it opened, or 21? I can't remember.
22.
22.
Yeah.
So,
kind of getting going.
yeah, I think, and yeah, and
Okay, so this is basically kind of comparing it against the reopening or the brand new opening of a brand new branch.
yeah,
So,
relatively new, and I think we've done a lot of things to increase awareness. We've had people table like at the Safeway up there and whatnot, just to tell people, did you know there's a library right across the way? And a lot of
Yeah.
people, I
my
think,
wife helps out up there with the Friends of the.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so, and so she says, yeah, but it's just that, 45%, that's a huge jump, 67%,
Mhm.
huge jump, 57,
Yeah,
87.
right.
I mean, man, those sound like, hey, there was nobody coming in to see us at all, and all of a sudden
Right.
10 people walked in.
I would say a little bit of it too, maybe that we fine tuned the collection up there a little bit. Based on kind of what we felt was becoming popular.
Yeah,
and
it took
that's
some while
probably,
to get that up and
Yeah.
going also,
yeah,
because there was a lot of, I guess, I don't know if it was misunderstanding of what it was gonna be and where it was gonna be, but there was an awful lot of shuffling around back and forth before everything kind of settled down.
yeah, for sure.
So, all right,
Well, looks like the word's getting out though. So
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
I think people are aware now. A lot of people make comments, especially people we get who might live in Pierce County, up in DuPont or whatever, and say, oh, it's so convenient for me to come down this way and pick stuff up in Hawks Prairie.
yeah.
oh, she says the usage right now that she's bumping into, and she goes in on Saturdays to help set books and all the rest of this. And she says that it's just amazing that way past anything she would have expected.
Yeah, well, glad to hear that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're trying to get, we've got two more computers. The laptop bar is a big improvement.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not having tables there. It's right in the window. Not that it's a great view in the strip mall, but it's nice to be able to look outside a little bit. Exactly.
Yeah.
Still nice to be able to look outside.
Yeah.
Get some sunlight, maybe. We got new blinds in here. City hooked us up with those. Was sort of a thing where if you're in here in the day, this is
Yeah.
can be difficult to see when people are using that. That's all I had for the report. I also wanted to mention, if you weren't aware, there was NPR in a story yesterday, I believe, on sort of book banning and book ratings, and it addressed the Timberland situation. Yeah. Yeah, take a look. You can find it on their website. I can't remember the title of it. I read it rather than listen to it, but it was it talked about library and I don't know, somewhere in Idaho. I don't remember exactly where, and it went through their situation, and then it brought up Timberland and talked about the Lewis County Commissioner and his proposal to rate books and whatnot. So that's newsworthy.
Yeah. So,
Okay, thank you. Blake. Any other questions? Manager's report?
Oh, I think that.
Should talk about our next meeting. It feels like there's a really long period between our two meetings, most previous. So do we feel like typically we try to have one fairly soon after the new year?
well, I think we're required to have one in January
Okay.
to select officers for the remainder of the year.
Yes. Our historian Scott always reminds me.
Don't forget to come back so we can vote for you.
Wait a minute. Okay, so do we want to, I know Charlotte's not here and Polly's not here, but do we want to look at a couple of the Wednesdays
Maybe
in
we should, and then we
January?
could, yeah, I don't know
Okay.
if Blake, you can see if the rooms are available at all.
I can see that at this point. Let's see, yeah, take a look.
Oh, that cuts us off.
We have lots of Wednesdays to choose from in January, so that's the
Ew,
good news.
oh,
Oh, wow.
I know, it's a long month.
Yeah.
You're talking about Wednesdays then in January, is that right?
probably on the
17 or 24.
Can't do the 17th.
Okay.
I could do really any date except the 17th.
But I can't do the 17th either.
Okay.
Or 31.
Is there generally a day that works better? We usually meet on Wednesday evenings, but. Your schedule looks like.
I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So far down the road. Well, and for the 24th or the 31st work for you? No, whether.
I'm a retired man, I'm available, go ahead, just name it.
Tired too, but. You just gotta get off that other board you're on.
Okay,
My other meetings are all on other days, Thursdays and Mondays,
Okay, so Wednesdays.
so
let's-
Wednesdays work out.
okay, so Wednesdays at 5:30.
5:30.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
So it looks like it's available the 3rd. Let me see. That's a staff reservation. I wonder what it's for.
We don't want that one anyway.
Yeah.
We want
Oh,
the
you don't want that anyway.
24th or the 30th.
24th or 31st. So 24th, it's open at 5:30. 31st, it's open. It's too early for the public to book anything that late in January because it's a 2-month embargo period. So both of those are open. If you want me to book one right now.
My gut is saying, let's do the
Let's-
24th. but
Let's take the 24th.
Yeah.
Sure.
24th?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make sure Charlotte.
And we'll let Holly tell us we were wrong. if she
Yeah.
doesn't like that.
Tell her if she doesn't attend, she doesn't get a choice.
Yeah, that's right. Must be present. Okay, great. And that's when we will talk about board positions and who's gonna be our next chair. It's usually the part where nobody makes eye contact.
Do it to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Blake, for making that reservation. for
You're
us. That's great.
welcome. Let's see here.
What else? Good of the order. Any thoughts, questions? Concerns?
We'll have, I assume the budget will be passed by then,
Yeah.
right? So we'll know that little piece.
Yeah, they said they expect it before, but if not, it should be on the January, in the first part of January.
Okay.
In that first meeting. He said, but they're gonna try and get to it earlier, but they can't commit to it yet, because they got others. They're giving a whole bunch of flack about budgets.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
That's so
a lot
awesome.
of the school districts' problems are
Mhm.
repercussioning because of work that has to be done. But the school district doesn't have any in that. So I'm amazed at the amount of loss of people, I mean, students, I mean, the shrinkage in students is huge.
Whereabouts?
School district, Lacey is.
North Thurston or?
Lacey, well, it's right across the whole district. Lacey is not doing too bad in Thurston County. But when you get over and you start getting down into Yelm, down into those other, where you're into Thurston County, they're really hurting.
Some of the older
Yeah.
schools have. lost
Yeah, the
population
older,
too.
the older
Oh, yeah.
school, rural districts, because they've had shrinkage that.
Isn't the county population always increasing? Overall?
I think what's happening is that you've got an outgrowth of migration up into the communities like Lacey. So, because if you go up and you drive down into Lacey, we've got 480 some units coming online in Lacey off of not, well, Meridian and the other one that comes across the back, they're just, I mean, everything. And coming down Meridian, I see the signs are up there, that they're having proposals to the building inspection department for laying out that area back up in there. You've got another proposal over by where that sports place is on the north side of I-5. That whole area in there, the Indian community is all proposing. And that's all increased with a small shopping center and I mean, it's just, Lacey is not gonna look like it does right now in 5 years. You're gonna be huge. And so I'm thinking that the fallout's gonna be that Yale and stuff like that, they're gonna have the fallout. They're not gonna have the growth, they're not gonna have the recovery back. Because you figure right now, you know, your large growth is all aging and moving out. The growth behind it is not as great. So the birth rate structure, you've got a big fall off in there. You're gonna have a problem coming into the school districts. And you know, people are moving in. Here's where the jobs are. That's where they're moving. So, you know, 3.4% job market. That's just huge.
Okay, so we'll pick that back up at the January 24th meeting, and I think with that, it's 6:09 PM and we can adjourn. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Sophie, welcome.
It's welcome.
I can leave
you.
the Zoom then, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Alyssa, are we good to log off?
Yep, all adjourned. Thank you.